Okay, perfect, man. All right, well, thank you for being here, bro.
Yeah.
So I invited a few other people. They kind of hit me up on Instagram. I kind of put it out there.
Yeah.
So just like last time, this is our second time getting together. So
Yeah.
we'll just go through it. I mean, you're pretty familiar. You were pretty good last time. Give me a second. Oh. Yeah, you're pretty good last time. I know you made it pretty far in your last interview, right? So this is kind of like just refresher, getting you back in the game.
Yeah. A little bit rusty.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
But that's why you're here, though.
Yeah.
Do you have a interview date?
No, I'm still in the pool.
Okay.
So they sent an email saying I'm in the pool.
You're in the pool. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, just by your appearance, you look good. Your hair is pretty short. You're high in sight. You got your suit on. You got the red tie. Always recommended. So that's a good job. So we'll get right into it. Okay.
Yeah.
The way we'll do it is we'll go through it just like we were last time. I'll ask you the questions. Go ahead and answer to the best of your ability. And then after, we'll talk about it real quick so I don't forget. Like if I do the whole interview and I might forget some things that I meant to say to you questions prior. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Agent. Well, thank you for being here today. Our first question is, what have you done to prepare yourself to be a firefighter for the city of Los Angeles?
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you for this opportunity, taking time out your day for this opportunity. I've done many things to prepare myself for the LAFD. You see, I'm from Pasadena, California, where I attended Blair High School. I played baseball and football, where I was team captain for both sports. This is where I learned the concept of teamwork and leadership and working towards a common goal in order to achieve something. After high school, I attended Northern Arizona University, where I majored in business management. And I'm proud to say that I'm a first generation college graduate in my family. I received several academic Dean's List awards. I attended several groups outside of school, and while maintaining 2 jobs at the time. It was also at this time where I realized I found a greater calling in serving the community. I joined a local outreach program where we help feed the homeless and set up fundraising events for the Special Olympics. After college, I came back home and I got a job as an administrative assistant and a supervisor for assisted and independent living for the elderly. This is where it helped me. It's where it helped me get a better understanding and become more passionate, more patient in people's struggles in everyday life and what they might be going through during that time. It wasn't until when my dad took me to the Christmas breakfast, the yearly Christmas breakfast at the shops by Station 1, is where I saw that becoming an allied firefighter was a career choice that I wanted to join. I saw the sense of brotherhood and a sense of enjoyment of giving back to the community in which they serve. And that's when I knew that's what I want to do in the future. I joined EMT school in CIMT in Long Beach, where I was trained to provide basic life support skills to people if the situation arises. I'm currently at EMT for CalMed Ambulance, working 24-hour shifts, and currently working with the nurses and the paramedics, where I'm able to assist with both CCT calls and ALS calls. As I understand, most of the calls that firefighters are dispatched to are medical related. I lost over 25 pounds, as I understand, as a firefighter for the LA City. It's both emotionally, mentally, and physically demanding on the body. I've also taken all the fire tech prereqs for the Real Hondo College Academy, and I'm currently saving up to join the academy in the fall. And this is what I've done to prepare myself to become a Los Angeles City firefighter.
Okay, good. Okay, so that was pretty good. You have a lot of good things.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, they're just kind of they're just disorganized. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I tried to do like a timeline of like.
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
But like when you're talking to the camera and this tells me that you're nervous.
Yeah.
you don't want to show everybody your
Okay.
hand.
Yeah.
It's a poker game, right? So
Okay.
be in a good position where your camera's back far enough. You can sit up tall. You told me you lost weight. You're working out. I want to see your physical posture. Your good posture. And I know it's a little hard with Zoom, but you just got to try your best. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I find it better if people stand. Like, so if you can find something high enough to set your computer on so that you're standing, because then you can buckle your button. You can button your button.
Okay. Okay.
It looks a little bit more professional.
Yeah, I was trying to. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then your chin's up high. You're not like at a weird angle in the computer all up in my face. So that's just like the physical part of it. So just kind of take that into account. But you have a lot of good things. If you kind of just organize it as experience, go education, experience, and some sort of like a personal story, right? So, okay, my name's Adrian. I grew up in Pasadena, and I wanted to be a firefighter from a very early age. When my father took me to visit one of the fire stations, or took me to the shops, and I got to see the pride that the city of Los Angeles, has, or something of that nature.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's kind of like a good lead in, like telling us why you want to be a firefighter.
Okay.
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 If you can kind of get that out there first, now the things that you've done to prepare yourself is through your education. You went to Blair High School, where you were a student athlete. You were the first one in your family to graduate college at Northern Arizona with your academic accolades. You know what I mean? That's good. And then you're currently taking Rio Hondo classes at Rio Hondo Community College. You're taking fire classes where you plan to attend the Fires Academy in the fall. Okay, so you see how I kind of put my education in order.
Yeah. Okay.
Now it's easy for me to track because the way they grade these papers there's a box for education. So if you tell me education, now I'm gonna hit all the boxes. Okay, good. College, high school, fire classes, you get maximum points. Okay.
Okay.
So then if you move on to your experiences, when you were in college, you joined a nonprofit. Okay, your nonprofit gave you a good sense of personal pride. You like helping people, and that's something that you like to do. You can talk about your ambulance. So you have experience with patient care and helping people, and it's something that you want to do on a regular basis. Or, whatever kind of experiences, you just want to group them all together.
Okay.
So one thing you got to stay away from is a brotherhood. Is it a brotherhood or is it a brother and sisterhood?
Okay. Okay.
So just leave it out. I know what you're saying, but someone can take that, for what it's worth. Like, don't you mean brother and sisterhood?
Okay.
So I would just leave it out. And then I would have some kind of like, I know you said you've lost 25 pounds. Well, to me, that's kind of alarming. I'm like, man, how much did you weigh before? Like, so I understand what you're trying to say, but you can just word it differently. Like, hey, I've been on a really strict workout regimen where I work out 5 days a week because I know, just like you said, it's physically and mentally challenging.
Yeah.
So a way to kind of tie all those things up is like, you can kind of end it with, one thing I've learned through this whole process is the word sacrifice. A lot of sacrifices have been made for me to sit in front of you today. And I want you to know that I really appreciate it. I thank you. And I'm ready to take any questions you may have at this time.
Okay, like an ending type thing.
Yeah, so you just put an ending on it, and then it kind of throws that buzzword of sacrifice out there. Like, sacrifice. Okay. There's a lot of sacrifices you make in the fire service. One is you don't go to all the birthday parties. You don't get all the holidays off. You don't get to go home sometimes, So if they're able to see that you understand the word sacrifice early on in this interview, it will help you later with the questions later on.
Okay.
And then also by saying like, hey, is there any questions you may have? I'm ready to take any questions you may have. Like, oh, you know what? I went to Northern Arizona. How'd you like it there or something? It kind of just gives me a chance to ask you something, whether instead of just ending it, now you have a chance to get additional points by me asking you a question. For example, like, oh, what was the nonprofit? Oh, the nonprofit was through my church. What we did was we met on Sundays, we had mass, and then we went out, we fed the homeless. And that's something that gave me personal, it just gives you more to talk about and
Yeah.
kind of for me to read you, you know. So just take
Okay.
that for what it's worth. But you have a lot of good things. Just I would try to just reorganize them a little bit,
Okay.
and then don't forget too, like this is like you got to show some excitement. You know what I mean? Remember we talked about
Okay.
smiling last time?
Yeah.
You got to show me, because when you come to my house in the middle of the night for whatever reason, I want to see a friendly face. I don't want to see, you know, somebody that looks like they're like nervous and trying to just trying to get out of that room. You know what I mean?
Okay.
One more thing I would say is try to find a background, like something that's, you know, not distracting. I know, I mean, you look like you live in a nice house, but your fan's kind of like, you know, going off. I would just
Okay.
have a really generic background.
Basic. Yeah.
Unless you have degrees hanging on your wall, then that would be something like product placement. You know what I mean? That gives
Okay.
me an opportunity to ask you something that may give you a little upper hand. You know, so
Okay.
All right. So,
Yep.
not bad, Adrian. Let's move along. Let's see. All right. So tell me about a time you invented something.
Okay. So for one of my final projects for my business major, we had to create a business from the startup, and our business was to create sorry. So we created a business from startup where we made a delivery service. It was called Sombreros Delivery Service. So it was provided breakfast service that was catered to the college students because they have a busy lifestyle and they might not have time throughout their day to create a breakfast. So because they're always on the go. So we created a business from the startup and we had to present it to investors at the end of the year. And we got over 3 investors who were interested in our product. And I know as an LA City firefighter, you have to be quick on your feet and not second guess yourself at times. And I know, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I just lost it. Yeah,
Not bad. Not
yeah,
bad.
yeah,
You had the right train of thought. Okay.
yeah,
So let's talk about this for a second.
yeah,
Do I really like? Okay, so if you invented something, you would probably be on Shark Tank, and you'd probably be a millionaire, and you
yeah,
probably wouldn't be in this interview asking for a
yeah,
job, right? So I
yeah,
know you probably never invented something, but if you did invent a startup like you did, that's awesome.
yeah,
What we're looking for is a time where you used a particular object other than what it was intended for, where you thought outside the box. You know what I mean? So let's just say you used a 2x4 as a splint because your buddy you were on a hike and
oh,
he
okay,
broke his leg, and you know what I
okay,
mean.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that shows me that you're thinking outside the box.
okay,
There's nothing wrong with what you were telling me, but that
yeah,
sounds more of like just a project that you were doing in school.
okay,
You know, I want to see that you're able to think outside the box. But like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to use that, I would just use it and kind of talk about it a little bit. Like I would just explain it a little bit more.
yeah, okay,
And before you answer, like don't be so quick to jump out at the question. It's like you never want to start a question with like, okay, all right, just be quiet, just be quiet. And what I like to do and what I like to tell people to do is, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? And while
okay,
they're repeating the question, it gives me a couple more seconds to think about what I want to say. Okay.
okay,
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
okay,
While they're repeating it, okay, I'm gonna talk about my startup that I had to invent in high school in college.
okay,
Okay. So, have all of you seen the show Shark Tank? Well, I was tasked with inventing a startup company that
okay,
was kind of like DoorDash when I was in college, and we
okay,
had to deliver breakfast to students throughout the campus, and we raised money. We were able to get investors, and we had to start it from scratch. And I know in the fire service, you're tasked with things that seem impossible, but you need to think outside the box and get the job done. And that's exactly what I did in this particular situation.
okay,
The finance
yeah,
department to the marketing to talk about all of the in-depth structures within what you did, like explain it in depth. Okay.
okay,
So, um, not bad. You had the right train of thought, but no question is over until you bridge it.
okay,
Firefighter, or I know that in this fire service, or as an LA City firefighter, blah 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 blah. Right?
yeah,
Okay. Not bad. Just work on that one because that is definitely one that 80 to 90% of your interviews you'll have that question. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. What would you say your greatest weakness is?
I would say my greatest weakness is overthinking. And I understand that in the LA City firefighter, you don't really have that time to overthink and second guess yourself because it might cause to someone getting injured or potentially losing their life. And I know as a firefighter, they prepare yourself to not second guess yourself and be more prepared. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
So by saying that, hey, I overthink things,
Yeah.
that is like a negative characteristic about you. You
Yeah.
want to find like they call it like a positive negative, right?
Okay.
So 90% of the time people say, oh, it's my weakness is time management. Well, that's not good. That's not good
Yeah.
that you can't manage your time, right? So it has to be something along the lines of like a positive negative, right? So what I used to say in these situations was like, um, I would say my greatest weakness is my inability to say no because I like helping
Okay.
people so much. Whenever someone asks me for something, I know that they obviously must need it, and I enjoy helping people. And because of that, sometimes it takes away from me and my goals because so I kind of give an example. I tell you that it's my inability to say no, and then
Yeah.
I start giving you examples of how it affects me. But I know that in the fire service, there's going to be a lot that's asked of me. And I know that everything I've done leading to this point has prepared me to be a firefighter in LA City because I love helping people and I know that I can take on more than I think I can. Or just something along those lines. Find a positive, negative, okay?
Okay. All right.
Or you could say, like, what's your greatest weakness? I would say it's my work ethic. Oh, well, you're a bad worker? No, I work too hard. In fact, I work so hard that sometimes I have to stop and take a break and realize that I have to do things for my family. I have to spend time with my family because they're my support system.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm so focused on my goals that I lose track of that. I'm a very focused person and I'm very determined. I know this is what I want to do. You know what I mean? So, anyways,
Okay.
just think of something like that where it's a positive, negative, and then just use it to your advantage.
Okay.
All right. But don't get so quick into like you have to answer the question and then give examples.
Okay.
All right. And then remember what we talked about. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And then don't start with okay. All right. Just keep it cool. Keep it cool.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me tell me about a time you had a conflict in the workplace or at school. What was the conflict, and what happened, and what was the resolution?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. So tell me about a time when you had a conflict in the workplace or at school. What was the problem, and what was the resolution?
One time I had a conflict. It was at work with, I was a supervisor at assisted and independent living. So we had one of the residents who had a fall and she was on the floor for 3 days and no one checked on her for those 3 days. So I created a system where the caregivers, even though it created a much greater workload for them, I created a system where they, regardless if they were independent, they still had to be checked on every day. And I got a lot of fallback from the caregivers just because they already had a large workload for them to do. So by resolving it, I offered my help in helping them and checking on this and checking on the residents as well. And understand as a Los Angeles City firefighter, there's going to be many conflicts in the workplace, but at the end of it, you always have to come together and work towards a common goal and put everything to the side.
That was good. That was a good answer,
Okay.
bro. That was really
Okay.
good. Okay. I remember we kind of talked about that one
Yeah.
last time, right?
Yeah.
It came out a lot cleaner this time.
Okay.
So that was really good. The one more thing that I would throw in there is like a good lead-in is one thing I understand about conflict is it always breaks down to communication. Anytime I've ever had a problem, it's because I didn't communicate well enough. Okay. And then if you want to use that scenario, which is really good, I would stay with that. Talk about how you you got a lot of fallback from your coworkers, but you led by example. You know, you were the person that initiated the checks at first, and then once everyone saw you do it, they started to catch on, and then you were able to explain to them how this was the right thing to do. You know, so that was really good. Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for today, and then we'll meet again, and we'll add on to from the last set of interview questions we had, mixed with these ones, and we'll see if we can get a polished up product at the end. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
So at this time, this concludes our mock interview. Is there anything you have to add?
Again, I want to thank you for this opportunity. This really means a lot to me and my family. And I know if given the opportunity, I could really become an asset to the Los Angeles City firefighter. Thank you again.
The fire department.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. That's good. All right, man. That's not bad. Keep it short and sweet. One of my closings that I always used to wear. I have had a lot of interviews. One of the closings I always used to use was, "Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it." Just like you thanked us again. And you could do something like the city of Los Angeles not only needs good quality firefighters, they deserve it. Thank you for your time. My name is Adrian Panuelos. Or, you can always just throw in like another, we talked about in the beginning about the sacrifices that you've made to make it to the seat today. You know that you're going to keep pressing forward. You can use that instead of using it in the beginning, you can use it at the end. So just think about that. And then, hey, I was going to say one thing too, is your glasses. I would probably take them off for your interview.
Okay.
And I know you probably need them to see, right? But you don't want to have you don't want to put any doubt in their mind that like, oh, I wonder if he has a vision problem. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm not going to mark him that high on this answer because, he might not pass his physical anyways. And the guy or the girl that we interviewed earlier, I'm going to pass them instead. You know what I'm saying? So like, don't give them any reason to kind of look at you sideways.
I can guess. Yeah.
Okay. And then that's about it, dude. That's about it. So next time we'll go through a full interview. We'll ask you about, the 8 to 10 questions that you're going to get. And then hopefully you practice them, whether you're driving to work, you're in your car, you got some free time. Instead of watching Netflix, this is something that you got to want. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I want it for you. Like I personally know your dad, and, I want this for you and your family. Yeah. But I can't want it for you.
Yeah.
You got to want it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So make this priority number one on your list. And I'm here to help you. If you want to FaceTime me, you got my phone number. We can just hit a couple questions each day, but just work hard, bro. All right?
Okay. Sounds good.
All right,
thank you.
Thanks for your time. Everybody else, thank you guys for joining. If you guys have any questions, you guys can go ahead and chime in now. I'd be happy to answer anybody's questions before we take off. Anybody?
Just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to listen in. Appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime.
Yeah. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity for listening in, like you mentioned as well. I did have a question in regards to actually ride-alongs. I know it doesn't pertain too much to this interview, but would you be able to do would we be able to do a ride-along as well as a mock interview in person by chance?
Yeah, you can do that. You can do station visits. I don't think that we're doing ride-alongs right now, but you can do a station visit. So I don't know where you live, but you can call your closest fire station and do an interview with them. Like when people come to me, because you kind of like a question that you will get is, explain to me what a day as a probationary firefighter looks like. So there are certain things you got to know that tells the grader that you actually been to the firehouse. So when you come to a station visit, that's when we kind of go over all those things, you know. So you can call whatever LA City fire station is closest to you. You can call. I work at Fire Station 37. You can call the front office to schedule an appointment. Solely up to you.
Great, thank you.
But ride-alongs, I don't think we're doing ride-alongs right now.
Copy that. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right. Anybody else? All right. You guys have a good night. Adrian,
Thank you.
good luck, man. Work hard. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. I'll see you next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.